In this final video of this sequence, walking you through the installation of ColorCert on your system, I want to just clean up our desktop a little bit and then take a look at the preferences to configure a couple of items. So first of all, we have some excess items on our computer desktop that we can clean up. These two folders that were created during the installation for the miscellaneous files as well as the release notes, you will notice that those are simply shortcuts to these folders which are installed in the system. So we don't need to have these on the desktop. So I'm just going to highlight those and delete those. And then I have the zip file from my dongle license, which I can delete. And then this is the extracted folder from the dongle license. I no longer need this either. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And that just, in fact, here we go. This is the installer. I can delete that as well. I shouldn't need this any longer. And if I ever do need it, I can always download it from the X-Rite website. All right, so with things tidied up a little bit, let's go ahead and take a look at the preferences. Again, I'm on a Windows system, so to get to Preferences, I'm going to click on Window and then Preferences. This is one of the only differences in the functionality between Windows and Macintosh. If I'm on a Macintosh system, rather than Window Preferences, I'm going to click on ColorCert and then Preferences. Either way, that will take us to a window with a series of tabs across the top. We're just going to take a look at a couple of items today. It opens up to the Program tab. And at this screen, I normally recommend that people uncheck this option here to check for updates. With this checked, every time the software launches, it goes out and it looks to see if there's been any updates for the software. Now, if you're the manager and you're going to be building jobs and you've installed this for your own use, you may want to leave that checked. I normally uncheck it for those workstations in production, however, because if I'm going to make an update to my system, I want to do it in a coordinated fashion. I want to make sure that I do all my workstations at once, that for any important changes, I have training in place for my folks. So I don't want to just allow, for example, a workstation on third shift to get automatically updated and the operator's not aware of what's happening. So I normally recommend that people uncheck that. We also need to tell the software what instrument we're connected to. And as you will likely recall, we installed a driver for the X-Rite Exact. And I did then connect an X-Rite Exact to my workstation. So I'm going to click on the Devices tab. And I have to tell the software what device I'm connected to. So I'm going to click on the X-Rite Exact radio button. You will notice as I move my cursor over these different instruments, the icon at the right changes. So we can also tell visually if the instrument matches. And as soon as I check that radio button, you can see this little bar underneath the reconnect button turned green. If for any reason it didn't, I can always click reconnect. And this, in this case, I'm connecting to my Exact using a USB cable. I also have the option to connect to the Exact using Bluetooth. And in that case, I would need to actually pair the instrument to the computer first. And in that case, if I had done that, it would show up here in the list with a serial number. And anytime it's showing a serial number, I'm connecting via Bluetooth. Just going to click OK to that. And the last thing we want to take a look at here, just so you're aware, if you are using Pantone Live, we want to come to the Network tab, and down at the bottom of this, we want to place a check in the ballot box here under Pantone Live to enable that. Once we've done so, we can go ahead and click on close. And I may also want to mention here that you may need to actually have administrator privileges or be logged on as the administrator to make these changes. So you may possibly have to get someone from IT to do that for you. But once you've made those changes, they will be set in place and you should be good to go. I also find it sometimes useful, once I've made those changes, just to go ahead and close the software and reopen it. And if I was logged on as the administrator, I would probably go ahead and do that first before I log off and go back on as a regular user. You'll notice now that it tells me at the bottom of the software here that I'm connected to an X-Rite Exact, and we have a little green box here to indicate that the connection is live. Well, hopefully you found these videos for installing ColorCert to be useful, and please take a few moments to watch some of our operation videos for ColorCert.